Well, hi, Mac, and anyone who might be watching episode 152 of GRAMidei, Read Stories for Mac. I got this one. It is Paw Patrol, which is so funny because when the kids first started talking about this a few years ago, I thought they were saying Papa Troll, like a dad troll. I didn't know it was Paw Patrol. So now it's a whole series. And these are the little guys. You're going to get to know them. It says 5 minute story collection, but I'm just going to say, based on how big the story is, it's going to be more than 5 minutes. First one is going to be Marshall to the Rescue on page 1. Marshall to the Rescue, illustrated by MJ Illustrations. And you know what? It does not say who it is, who wrote it. It doesn't say. Let me just double check. I want to give credit if I can. It's from Nickelodeon. So that's all I know. All right, here we go. It says, no, that's too small for me to read it from there. It was an exciting day at the lookout. A flock of geese was stopping overnight to rest. Rocky built a big nest for the birds to sleep in. Rabble used a shovel to fill the nest with bread for them to eat. Marshall was so excited he accidentally tumbled into the nest. The geese are coming, he shouted. So you can tell based on that, Marshall is the Dalmatian. This one, right, with this is Rabble, and that one's Rocky. Rocky, Marshall, and Rabble. Rubble. Sorry, Rubble. Yeesh. The geese flew in and landed, honking happily. Honk, honk! They started pecking at the pieces of bread right away. One tired goose settled down into the nest to relax. She likes your nest, Rocky, Ryder said, patting the pup on the head. Rocky smiled, proud of his good work. That's this one. And that's Ryder, the human. Oh, maybe I can read it. Oh, I just moved away. And the pages are really thick. So let me see. But a baby goose wandered away from the rest of the flock. He waddled into a blue bucket and rolled down a hill. Oh no. I'll get him, Marshall announced, racing after the bucket. But as he ran, his feet got tangled up. Marshall and the little gosling ended up bouncing down the hill. Oh no. Then it says, let's see. When they reached the bottom, then I can't read it, they were both a little dizzy. The gosling's eyes rolled around. Are you okay, fuzzy little guy? Marshall asked. Cheep, cheep, the goose replied with a nod. Hey, Marshall exclaimed. Fuzzy is a great name for you. He nudged the gosling with his nose. Back to your family, Fuzzy. Marshall took Fuzzy back up the hill to the lookout. Nice work, Marshall, Ryder said. Marshall introduced the little goose to the rest of the Paw Patrol. Fuzzy liked all the pups, but Marshall was definitely his favorite. Sky chuckled. Marshall, it looks like you have a new BGFF, best goose friend forever. And all the pups laughed. So I know that's Sky because when I went to Cass's birthday party, I had a mask that was her. For the rest of the day, the two friends did everything together. The little goose followed Marshall everywhere he went. When Marshall washed his fire truck, Fuzzy polished the window with his tail feathers until Marshall accidentally washed the little goose with his hose. Oops, Marshall said. Sorry, Fuzzy. That evening, Marshall walked back to the nest with Fuzzy on his head. Okay, Fuzzy, he said, bending so Fuzzy could hop up. Time to hit the hay or nest. Fuzzy jumped up and down on Marshall's head. Cheep, cheep. He didn't want his new friend to leave. I suppose I could sleep out here, Marshall said, but just this once. He curled up, and soon they were both asleep. That's this page. Aww. On the next one, the first thing in the morning, next morning, while Marshall was still asleep, Fuzzy wandered off looking for food. He was hungry. When Marshall woke up, he looked around for his friend. No Fuzzy. He called his name, but the goose didn't answer. Marshall ran to Ryder. Fuzzy is gone, he said. We have to find him before his flock leaves. Oh, no. Ryder called the Paw Patrol to the lookout. Our goose friends have to fly south for the winter, he explained, but they're missing one little goose. If we don't find Fuzzy fast, they'll have to leave without him. Chase, I need you to call Fuzzy with your megaphone. Marshall, Fuzzy would follow you anywhere. I need you to help look for him too. Are. Outside the lookout, Chase broadcast a goose honk through his megaphone, but Fuzzy didn't answer. Marshall sniffed the ground, searching for clues. He found one of Fuzzy's feathers. Ryder picked it up. Chase took a whiff. Achoo! He sneezed. Sorry, I'm a little allergic to feathers. He took a few more sniffs, sneezed, and announced, he went this way. So that's Chase. This is Marshall. That's Chase. That's Ryder. Ryder. Marshall, Chase, and Ryder jumped into their vehicles and raced across Adventure Bay. Their sirens blared as they followed Fuzzy's feather trail. This was an emergency. Wait, let me see if I have a sound effect. I don't think I have one. Although I do have a sneeze. Wow, that's a big one. Suddenly, Marshall heard chirping. Fuzzy was on the roof of the train station. He had a piece of bread in his beak, and two seagulls were trying to steal it. Fuzzy, fly down here, Marshall called. He can't, Ryder said. A plastic soda ring is wrapped around his wing. Marshall, use your ladder to help get Fuzzy down. Isn't that pretty wild that the Paw Patrol dogs can drive? Marshall extended the ladder on his fire truck, which scared away the seagulls. He climbed up the ladder, but Fuzzy slipped on the edge of the roof and fell off. Use your helmet, Ryder cried. Marshall caught Fuzzy in his fire helmet. Sweet catch, Marshall, Ryder cheered. Nice. Now let's get this off you, Ryder said, carefully pulling the plastic ring from Fuzzy. He was free again. The gosling flapped his wings, flew into the air, and landed on Marshall's head. Marshall laughed. The Paw Patrol raced back to the lookout. They had to get there before Fuzzy's flock flew away. Nice. The moral of the story, cut your soda rings. And also, stay with your family. But they were too late. The geese had just left. Fuzzy would have to flap fast to catch up to them. Fuzzy didn't want to go, and Marshall didn't want him to leave either. A little gosling belongs with his family, Ryder said. Marshall agreed, and Ryder quickly came up with a plan to return Fuzzy to his flock. I wonder what it will be. Let's take to the sky, Sky exclaimed as her helicopter rose into the air, lifting Marshall in a harness. Cheep, cheep. Fuzzy flapped his wings and followed Marshall through the sky. Soon they caught up with a flock of geese. Goodbye, Fuzzy, Marshall called as Fuzzy joined the flock. Have a safe flight, you silly goose. Okay, I see it. Although that little gosling is pretty small. Back at the lookout, the pups played jump rope. You guys did an awesome job today, Ryder said. What a bunch of good pups. Marshall missed Fuzzy, but he knew his little friend would visit whenever his family flew overhead. Until then, Marshall had his some pup pals to keep him company. There they are. The end. Now, I'm sure that's over 5 minutes, but I love you, and I hope you have a great day.